guys. How are you all? Thank you guys for being here. So tonight we continue our coverage with Miss Melissa. Hey.
Hi.
How are you? Good luck, by the way.
Thank you. I'm totally ready for this.
Me too. If you guys missed it, just before this, Melissa and Shay were on talking about Idaho 4. They always do a great job. And regarding you guys talking about combating misinformation, I think it's important. I love that you guys do it, and I don't think anybody does it like you guys for Idaho. So I look forward to that. So here's Shay. Tonight, we are continuing our coverage into the Casey Anthony trial. George is taking the stand. Melissa, it looks like we've got a Casey Anthony supporter here, which is fun, but yeah, I think that's interesting. Let me find it. Before we get into it, though, I do want to read you guys an article that came out a few months before the trial, just to kind of get in the mindset of what was happening, what was known, and like at that time, that kind of thing. See, Casey Anthony for America. I'm here. I'm here. Okay. Glad that you're here. Okay. Anyways. So let's see. Let's take a look at this. This came out in March of 2011. It's kind of weird. So, okay. Oh God, that's just such a heartbreaking picture. Isn't it? But okay. So, Florida, day 2. This happened. Apparently, there were hearings regarding suppressing evidence. So it says day 2 of the suppression hearings in the murder trial of Casey Anthony, the young Florida mother accused of murdering her 2-year-old daughter Kaylee in 2008, saw tense testimony from Anthony's father and brother, who testified about the days after Kaylee was reported missing. The defense called Casey's father, George, and brother Lee to the stand to testify about potentially incriminating statements she made to them while in jail in an attempt to show that they were acting as agents of the state and that therefore the statements should be thrown out.
What?
Like that's a
escalated.
Yeah. They're now agents of the state. Okay. George tried to avoid answering questions and repeatedly got into verbal battles with the prosecution and the judge. But the prosecution eventually got him to admit that he was only working as an agent for Kaylee. And he says at this time, it's very emotional for me. But what do you think of that, Melissa? He's getting into arguments with not the defense, but the prosecution and the judge.
Emotion, confliction of not knowing. Every moment he's up on that stand, he's essentially possibly signing his child's death warrant. Yeah. So struggling.
That's true. Yeah, and so I'm wondering, is he maybe trying to hold back information at this point, or I don't know. It's just weird.
Probably. That's what I would think.
Yeah, me too. So it goes on to say her brother Lee also testified and acknowledged trying to coax information from his sister, promising to not reveal information from any letters she might send him if she didn't want him to. When asked by the defense if he had been lying to his sister when he made that promise, he answered, maybe, eliciting a shrug from Casey, who then looked away. But Lee denied being put up to the ruse by the police, saying he was only trying to find Kaylee. A sheriff also testified and discussed a previously undisclosed walk he took with Casey on July 16th after Cindy told him she was worried about her granddaughter. He testified Anthony told him her parents may try to take her child away from her. And then it goes on with what she's charged with. But let's see these personal pictures before we go on. So this is kind of right before the trial. Oh, wow. They took them down.
Damn it.
Yeah, that sucks. I wanted to see Casey and Kaylee Anthony personal photos. So, I don't know. Kind of interesting to see. I'm sure you're right. They're battling with themselves. I don't know, though. At the end of the day, it would be for Kaylee, not really against Casey, but more for Kaylee in my eyes.
Yeah. But, at that point, I do think that they had accepted Kaylee was no longer with us. So at the same token, it's like now you have to potentially have your daughter be killed. Like she was up against the death penalty.
Yeah.
Could you handle being a part of that?
That's true. And I'm sure you couldn't, that would, no, be very hard to be a part of that,
It's gotta be, I couldn't imagine.
Yeah. Okay. Well, are you ready?
I am.
Okay. I'm nervous. It's like, I don't know. I'm like trying to stall a little bit. I don't know why. It's going to be tough to hear this,
It's gonna be emotional, very emotional, but we got this.
Yeah. We do got this. So Shay says, I will never be able to be convinced that Casey didn't do this.
No. I agree.
Wonder if we have we do have closed captioning. What?
Hell yeah. Woo woo.
Okay, here we go.
And eventually marry?
Yes.
And when did you marry?
In 1981.
And where did that occur?
Also in Warren, Ohio.
Now, at the time that you met Cindy, were you working as a law enforcement officer then?
Yes, sir, I was.
And in what capacity were you working when you two first met and began to see each other?
I was working as an undercover drug agent with the Sheriff's Department, where I was employed.
In your time with the Sheriff's Office, could you just describe for us what different positions you held or responsibilities you had?
Well, I had a brief stint as considered an auxiliary officer. I was immediately asked to become a full-time officer, which I did. I was in 2 years road patrol. I advanced pretty quickly to become a detective, and I was working at different times in auto theft. I mean, it was a lot of different things, and homicide. I did a lot of different varied things as a detective.
How big an agency was the Sheriff's Department? Well, is it Warren, Ohio Sheriff's Department, or?
It's called the Trumbull County Sheriff's Department.
Trumbull County Sheriff's Department. How big a Sheriff's Department is that?
At the time that I was employed there, we had a road patrol, or at least a full-size staff of about 110, maybe 112 sheriff deputies.
And how about the detective divisions? How many detectives did you all have?
Somewhere in the neighborhood about 10 to 12. It wasn't a real large agency, but I would say roughly about that.
So during your period as a detective, did you investigate a number of different kinds of crimes?
Right. I originally started out with, as far as, like it says, the auto theft and also like break-ins and things like that. But from time to time, you would be brought into other realms of investigation.
And occasionally even homicide cases, I think you just said.
That could happen from time to time, yes, depending on what was needed and the number of staff that can be utilized.
Now, during your marriage, were you blessed with children?
Yes, fortunate enough to have 2 children with Cindy.
Okay. And the oldest, could you tell us the name and gender of that child?
My oldest is my son, Lee. He is going to be 29 years old this year.
And what year was he born?
In 1982.
And how about your daughter?
Casey, which she's a female. She was born in 1986, and so now she's 25.
Now, did there come a time during the time you lived in Ohio when you got out of law enforcement and got into another line of work?
I got out of law enforcement for 2 reasons. My father had asked me to come back into a family-established car business. And after numerous incidents that occurred within the Sheriff's Department through being hurt on the job, different other things made me change my mind to get out of law enforcement and go back into a family business. That I know, number one, would be more stable. I would be able to provide more for my family.
Okay. So I'm just curious listening to this and hearing them ask him, were you blessed to have children? He says, I was fortunate enough to have these 2 kids. After everything they've been through, and now we're years down the road from this, 14 years later, I'm curious. I'm sure he doesn't regret having his children, and having Kaylee even, but even as many good years as they may have had, it's pretty much now where they had just as many terrible ones because of her.
That is true. so much time has passed.
Yeah. Because, like, well, she was a hellion at the end of her high school. We know that. Like, when she was becoming a young adult, she was dishonest, at least.
Mhm.
So maybe there were some good years that, there for a while, but just as many bad ones now. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay. Let's keep going. There's wasn't really too much to comment on there, but I didn't want to let it go too far without, adding
Right.
commentary. But I was thinking that anyway, so.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Now, were you still working as a law enforcement officer when Casey was born, or did that happen during your second career?
Let's see. Casey was born after I had left the sheriff's department.
And you said you went into a family business. What type of family business was that?
My father started a automobile agency back in 1947, so he had been in the business for numerous years.
Did there come a point in time when, so you did go to work for your father then?
Yes.
Did there come a point in time when your father left the business or you left his business?
Well, my father was sort of in like a semi-retirement when I joined him in 1984. And shortly thereafter, we had some incidents occur between him and I. We decided to part ways. And I believe that was in 1987. I'm roughly thinking about that was probably the time.
And did you decide to basically go out on your own in that same type of business?
Right. I started to start my own automobile agency, a small used car dealership, and provide for my family. Yes.
Now, when Casey was born, were you still working for your dad, or were you on your own at that point?
Casey had just been born, and it was like about a year after Casey had been born that I went out on my own, or I started another business.
Now, at some point, did you and your wife decide to leave Ohio, where you had grown and lived, and move to Florida?
Yes, we decided for a lot of reasons. Number one, my parents had retired here in Florida. Cindy's parents also had retired in Florida. And through my job, but the company that I had established was suffering financially. Just a lot of different reasons came into play for us to decide, well, the children were young enough. Why not go to Florida? I mean, that's somewhere where both sets of grandparents were at. Fresh start. Give us just another opportunity to start over.
Now, during your, during your marriage, through the birth of your children, did your wife Cindy continue to work?
Cindy she started working part-time when Lee was first born, to provide for him and be there for him. And she started working full-time. And I know she took some time off a little bit when Casey was born. And she still worked. I can't remember the exact many of hours she had been working during the week, something like that, but it wasn't a lot. She took time to.
Oh, okay. I had to pause there. Like, oh, she's like kind of glaring at him. She's keeping this. I wouldn't call it like a resting bitch face because of her pierced lips. I forgot to add the piercing. Oh my gosh. But she is keeping that stern glare.
I'm trying to see if she's staring directly at him on the witness stand, or if she's looking at the prosecutor. Like, I can't tell, and I wish we could.
I wonder if there's other angles of this
Yeah.
trial. And then I wanted to read you a comment. Okay, so Kathy and Becky were talking, and Kathy had said, and she says she doesn't mean to disparage him, but when regarding family dynamics and the trial, she said in his everyday life, George was not a great guy. I don't think he did any of the criminal things he was accused of. And so I asked, and Becky asked, like, please explain. And she said, he lost a lot of money through scams and gambling and lied for years. He was shady in that way, but nothing criminal.
Well, respectfully, you could say that about a lot of people. Like, try to find anybody's family dynamics where one person in that family isn't struggling with something. I don't think that means he was a bad person on a day-to-day life, like on a day-to-day basis, because he may have been involved with, what did she say? Did she say
like gambling and stuff like that? which he might have had a gambling addiction,
Right.
which I
Like,
think
that
she was,
doesn't- yeah.
yeah, she's agreeing with you. So I think that's kind of what she was saying. But you're right, dude. Like, everybody has issues.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that you would do something so horrific. Like, and not only that, if there's an accident, why in the hell? It just makes no sense to not let police know that there was a swimming accident or whatever.
Mhm.
But even with the gambling addiction, dishonesty over money, affair, we know that he had an affair. It kind of, that doesn't correlate or mean that you're the kind of person who would do this to Kaylee.
If
But
people were pulled up on trial and you saw the way that they rip into your every little secret, you would realize there are very few, if any, people who could get up on that stand and not have some shit come out. Honestly.
that's so true. Even if it's old, because they'll bring it
Yeah.
out from forever.
They'll bring it out, and the way that they could make it look something tiny too. The way it could be even questioned and turned, it's like, like it wasn't like that though. Not just answer the question, like, and it's like, oh my
Yeah.
God, like that's the way it is.
Oh, that's so true. Because all you can do is answer the question. You don't get to
Mhm.
explain. You don't get to do any of that.
Yep.
It's so true. But I am glad that she mentioned it. Just speaking of, like, when you're thinking about the dynamics of this family, their relationships, Casey being a prolific liar, if he did lie about some of that stuff. And then his affair and stuff also plays a part in the roles, which I think, just like from what we know so far, or what I know so far, I'd say Cindy probably poured herself into Kaylee.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jackdo said, my family is all jacked up.
Yeah, right? Welcome.
And then the last comment I want to read, Shay said, if there was an accident in the pool, him of all people would know that a death would be investigated. Why hide it? Doesn't make sense. Agree.
Mhm.
It moved to Florida.
Lee was just shy of being 7 years old, and Casey was just 3 years old.
When you got here to Florida, did Cindy go to work in her profession?
Pretty much immediately. She was hired by a orthopedic clinic in Winter Park, and it took me about 3 months before I was employed.
Had you considered going into law enforcement when you got to Florida?
I did go down to the Orlando Police Department and look into being hired by them. And because of having a law enforcement background, I thought it would be an easier chance for me to get reestablished and start having pretty much an income right away.
And did you decide not to pursue that?
Right after thinking about some of the drawbacks of law enforcement and how telling it can be and hard, it's a very hard line of work to adhere to every single day. It's very demanding.
All right. And was your wife part of that decision-making process?
All right.
Going back in?
I apologize. Yes, she didn't want me to go back in law enforcement because she's seen what could potentially happen. I mean, you could be going to work one day and not come home the next. It's a very tough position, very profession.
At some point, did you get into the private security field?
Yes, I was hired by the city of Orlando and started working at what was considered the Centralplex at the time, with the Orlando Arena, Bob Carr.
Yeah.
And in the years leading.
Sorry, do you see that troll account?
No.
I ain't even mad. That's funny.
I know. I'm not gonna delete. Please don't delete anybody unless like they get nasty multiple times. Hey, Music City Mom, but definitely don't delete this one. Keep them coming, Alcar.
You're a big old fart.
Okay.
I like it. It's better than the nasty shit we've seen. Honestly, that's just a silly.
Yeah. Like I said, keep them coming.
Yeah, keep them going.
If you're trolling and it's like can make me laugh, then I'm okay with it. But if you're just mean, nasty, or like, of course, bashing a victim or anything like that, then we're not gonna have that.
Of course. I was just
I know you were, but what am I? Nancy.
I'm rubber, you're glue. Oh my God, that's why it was funny, Trulia. Okay, carry on.
leading up to the events we're going to discuss? Did you
Hey,
work
Nina.
in that field pretty consistently?
Pretty consistently. It's unfortunate that from time to time you lose a position or you have a chance to move on somewhere along and you make some decisions to go into another line of work or get back into something that you know. Yes, I did some more security work, yes, over the years.
And did Cindy continue to work in her nursing profession?
Yes, Cindy has been very fortunate. She's only had 2 positions of employment since we've been here all these years.
Now, did there come a point in time when you learned that your daughter was pregnant?
Yes, I did. I think it was like May or June of 2005.
How did you learn that she was pregnant?
My daughter and my wife set me down in our living room and said they had something to tell me. And first hearing about it, extremely excited.
Wow.
Extremely excited to be.
Wait a minute. So, Casey, while hearing this, I know Scara's little fun fact that was funny, but Casey, while hearing him talk about her finding out she was pregnant and letting her family know, she looked so emotionless. I wonder what they were looking at too, Cheryl. Let me just go back while we're talking for a second. Can you do the 10-second? No.
Positions.
Mute for a second, but yeah, why would you would expect some kind of emotion, you know?
What are they all looking at? And look at Geraldo. Did you see Geraldo?
No.
He was sitting back there.
Wait, because I'm gonna pause it when it pans back to Casey and look at her. She's just
You would think even that brought emotion.
right. And he, he's saying I was thrilled to find out. I mean,
right. And the way that defense made it seem like it was this hush hush learn to lie from the moment you found out you were pregnant.
yes, exactly. And you know what? I don't know. It just makes me mad seeing her sit there like that. Just, I wonder, is she a psychopath or something? Because why wouldn't you have emotion over this? Your daughter is deceased. Right. She was found in the woods.
Right.
Deceased. Like the mention of her pregnancy should make your heart hit your stomach. You know what I mean? Your gut hit the floor. I mean, I don't know.
Well, and like I'm waiting for defense. Okay, you're owning that she drowned in the pool, and you're making it seem like George is this horrific man. Who put Casey there? I'm sorry, who put Kaylee there? And are you gonna put forward that what? Kaylee didn't put her there. George put her there. What are you gonna say? Convince me that even with your narrative that what happened to Kaylee's remains make any sense.
Yeah. No, it doesn't. Okay. Oh, now I'm muting. Shit.
First hearing about it, extremely excited. Extremely excited to be a grandfather, to see my daughter be a mother, but also concerns about, how she's going to raise this child because she's a single mom. I never really thought too much about who the father could be. That was a discussion I wanted to have maybe a little bit later. I wanted my daughter first to be happy, to get through the pregnancy fine, to enjoy that special time of becoming a mother that I thought was very important.
Now, you kind of touched on this a little bit. At the time that you learned of the pregnancy, your daughter was not married at the time. As far as was she?
Yeah, Casey's never been married.
All right. At the time that you learned of the pregnancy, was she involved with someone where you would sort of assume that person was the father?
Well, I really wasn't sure if Casey, I know Casey had dated at different times over the years, but I really wasn't sure about who she was maybe seeing on a more serious basis or anything like that. No, sir.
So how did you and your wife begin to prepare for the arrival of a grandchild?
Oh, just doing everything we can to make Casey's life as easy as possible for our grandchild. Getting a chance to go to different times when she was going to be examined. Went through the ultrasound.
Did you go?
Oh, absolutely, I did. And when I got a chance to see that it was considered, I think it's called a pancake. I think it's the term or something like that of when you can see it's going to be a girl.
Okay.
Maybe that's not the proper terminology, but I was very excited. I mean, if having a grandson would have been terrific, but just knowing that she was going to be a mother and us be grandparents, it wouldn't have mattered. She could have had 3 or 4 children at once. It would have been fine with me. I just was excited.
At the time that you learned of the pregnancy, was Casey living under your roof?
Casey has always lived with us, yes.
Now, was she in school at that time? The time you learned of the pregnancy? Or had she already finished high school?
She already had finished high school.
To your knowledge, at that point, was she working?
She was working for a company called Color Vision, which is a subcontractor for Universal Studios.
Was it your understanding that that was one of those companies that take your picture when you walk in the front door and then offer to sell it to you
Yes.
later, that kind of thing?
Yes.
All right. So during your preparations for this, was there any question among the 3 of you as to where Casey and your grandchild would live after she was born?
No, I mean, we opened up. She's always lived at home, and we thought that would be not thought, but we knew that having Kaylee with us, or knowing that our grandchild could live with us until Casey got more established, better on her own, possibly job promotion or whatever it might be, she would stay with us until the time she felt that she wanted to leave.
Now, you mentioned home. Where was home?
Home is 4937 Hope Spring Drive, where we've lived since 1989.
Since when?
Since 1989.
89. And was that a house that you all purchased? Did you purchase it actually before you moved to Florida or sort of early on?
Cindy had came down to Florida to see her parents. And when we decided we were going to be moving down here because of my work at the time and through other things, I couldn't get away. Cindy basically came down and looked the area over, found a realtor, found a home. And what they say, the rest is sort of history. That's the home we settled on.
And is this a home in which you raised your children and were intending to help raise Kaylee?
Oh, yes.
Could we show the witness State's Exhibit AN for identification? If you'll look at the screen for a moment. Do you recognize the photograph that we've identified as State's Exhibit AN for identification?
That is our home at...
You do?
I think both can be true at the same time. Worry, concern, sadness, you don't have your shit together, but at the same time, abundantly happy because that's your grandbaby.
Yeah. Do you think they really didn't ask her who the dad was, though?
No.
Like, come on, that's kind of crazy.
But when we watched Cindy in that room and her explaining, I think they genuinely don't have to know. That's how little Casey gave, that they even talking about the lawyers and writing it up. They have no name. They couldn't even recall a name off the top of the head of a possibility. They'd have to go through those lawyer papers, remember?
Yeah. So, okay. Very interesting. Then they fell in love with Kaylee. Yeah, I could see that and being just thankful for it. Nancy says, hell no. I bet they were pissed, but ended up okay with it, as all good parents or grandparents would be in the end. Mine were mad when they found out, because I was only 18. And I mean, not my mom wasn't mad, but my dad was. He was like, what are you doing? You have messed up your life. I cannot believe you. But then he turned out to be like the most loving grandfather ever, and a dad to Trenton too. Yep. So I'm thankful. But
yeah, that's what I mean. Like, both can be true at the same time. But I also know guys, and I'm not trying to make an excuse, but kind of like how they say moms become mom the moment they become pregnant, dads become dads the moment that they see their child for the first time. I think when asking about Kaylee, George probably is fast forwarding to the time where Kaylee was born, versus if you ask Cindy probably is going to recall the moment Casey told her. You know what I mean? Like his little timeline might be blurred a bit. And I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm just saying that I could imagine it standing more prominent from Cindy.
Yeah, I totally agree. Justin, I love your new picture. That's cute.
That's so cute.
Yes. And then Diana says, but do you guys think they regret letting her have the baby after this?
They didn't let her. That was her choice.
That's true, but maybe they regretted not encouraging something else. But no, I don't think so, Diana. I think they were just thankful to have the baby, period, for the amount of time they did, because at that point you would be wishing away a life that touched you dramatically and very much. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
It's like asking like a parent whose child passed away, hey, if you could go back and not have to save yourself from the grief and pain, I don't think you'd find a parent who would ever take away even a moment that they had for the amount of pain, because that love outweighs that pain.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Shakto said, I was 29 when I had my first, and my parents still had something to say about it. Hey,
True.
man. Yeah, that's funny. All right. Here we go.
Hope Spring Drive, 4937.
That's the one you described to us where your children were raised and
Yes.
where Kaylee was to be raised. This time, donor state would move into evidence, states exhibit AN for identification.
What says the defense? There being no objections, it will
What
be
say
received in
ye?
evidence. The state's exhibit numbered.
And may I publish, Your Honor?
It's freaking
You may
adorable.
publish.
Now,
Also,
I love the judge.
Mom.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
during the time that you
So
were
sorry.
assisting with the pregnancy and waiting for your grandchild to come around, did Casey continue to work?
Casey worked up until I think it might have been about at least 2 or 3 weeks prior to Kaylee being born. I might be off maybe a week or so, but at least it's in that short time period.
Tell us about Kaylee's birth. Where were you when you found out? I'll try and help you with this. Where were you when you found out that it was time?
Oh my God, Melissa.
We were, Cindy, Casey, and I were all at home. And Casey had been starting to become a little bit ill, or she was showing signs of possible labor. I mean, she was throwing up. She had some other small issues that made us think, okay, maybe this is something that's going on. That's something we need to look into and get her some assistance. So we took her up to the hospital, and I think in a few short hours, the doctor was called in, her pediatrician, and
You mean her obstetrician?
obstetrician. I'm sorry. Oh,
That's okay.
Obstetrician, yes. And the lady helped her bring Kaylee into the world.
Were you actually there in the delivery room, or did you have to wait outside?
Oh, I was in the delivery room. I was in the delivery room for my own two children, but also being there for Kaylee, which was, to me, not only amazing, but also embarrassing to a point.
Sure.
And if I might say that there's sometimes in your life as a father, there's some things of your child you don't want to see again growing up. But something, it's
Okay, so I want to just take a second, Allie B. I saw your comment about, are we sure that he did not do what Casey accused him of? Well, this is just where I'm going to leave that. He did take a lie detector test supposedly, but regardless of that as well, because maybe he could pass one, whatever, he's not been on trial for it. He's not been accused of it so I don't think it's fair to keep putting that on him, because of the way that her story came out as a defense for her when she's on trial for murdering her daughter. So I don't feel super comfortable with thinking that actually could have happened. It just doesn't seem right to me. Why would Casey move her daughter in with them if he was so terrible and did this to her? Why would she subject her baby to it? That makes no sense. But also, like I said, to me, it just kind of comes down to he hasn't been on trial for that. We're discussing what she's on trial for, and that is part of it, yes, because what the defense is claiming. But it just makes me so sad to even consider having that discussion like that here,
Well, and I'll say two things. One, have you seen any evidence that would even suggest something like that took place, or is the only reason anyone is considering that is because in the defense opening statements, he said it happened. And two, shit, I forgot what two was going to be.
Yeah. No, I know you're not, Allie B. I'm just saying, like, I don't know. I'm uncomfortable. Go ahead, Melissa. I'm sorry.
Well, it's, I forgot what two was going to be, but it sucks. And it's hard because we are covering this and this is going to be the topic. And so it's kind of impossible to, I'm going to piggyback off what Allie said. Keep it in mind, be open-minded, okay, to defense, because that is what we're doing right now is, okay, take Casey's current narrative, and that is her current narrative. And I want you guys to keep it in the back of your mind, as you should. Keep defense opening statements in the back of your mind, what they said. Keep prosecution's opening statements and what they said. And I want you to observe. And I want you to take, if you're going to entertain that, which, I'm not saying entertain it as in believe it versus entertain it as being open to the possibility, take it and apply it to what we're going to see throughout this entire trial and ask yourself, is that behavior I would expect to see from a victim of abuse? Why was Kaylee left in that house? I've seen a lot of victims speak out who say, the abuse on me, I took it. I never left. I never left because they never touched the kids, because they never did. But the moment that abuse could possibly affect children, you're out, right? Because I'm not accepting that. So it's one thing if I'm going to believe Casey lived in that environment of abuse over and over. But the moment that she believed Kaylee was going to be abused, which she said in her Peacock series, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Why the hell are you leaving her with them? Why the hell are you there? And then how the hell under those 31 days are you going to see she was doing what she was doing? That doesn't make sense to me. That is not the behavior I would expect to see.
Yeah, exactly. And, Allie B, no, it's no big deal. I don't even think you believe it. I do agree with Kathy. It is a good question, and I could sit here and debate it. I don't believe that it's true because, like Melissa said, you're not just living there. You're leaving her there and many other things. So if you believe that, are you just leaving your daughter like intentionally with I don't know. It makes no sense. But I think it's not a bad question. It's just something that, and I could debate it. I don't feel comfortable doing that really, like to the fullest extent. A little bit discussing it along the way. Like Melissa said, keep it in mind as we watch their behavior. But, I think that it's an interesting conversation. It's just something I feel bad about even entertaining too much because I don't believe that it's true. And I think that he's already been through so much.
Yeah.
And so it's tough,
But we'll be going through all of the post-trial interview. Like once we get past this trial, we're going to be going through the post-trial interviews and the lie detector to hear them be able to speak freely. Because please keep in mind, when they're up on this stand, you don't get to give context. You don't get to give, well, yes, but here, let me explain that, right? Nothing. You have to answer yes or no with no context, no anything. So once even trauma and time passes, because time helps with everything, to be able to come out and speak out and share what happened and their version of events is very important.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And poor Linda, did you see her comment? She said, I was a juror on a child, where'd it go? I just highlighted it, on a child SA case. And you are exactly right. And I think that's regarding like the moms who had put up with the abuse, but then for their kids, it was different. But
for the kids, the moment, a lot of, you see that in a lot of marriages too. He was a horrible husband and abused me, but he never lifted a finger on those kids, never raised a hand. But then the moment that you see potential, like out, because we love our kids more than we love ourselves. And that's being a mom.
Yeah. Magus said, go back and watch the entire case. I don't know if you're talking to me or the chat.
Because we are. That's what we're doing.
That's exactly what we're doing. And we're only on the first witness. I've never watched it before. Melissa did, but it's been a really long time. So we are trying to do that. We want to be educated on the facts of something like this. So also on the OJ case, we want to be educated on the facts.
Yes, I'm excited to do OJ after this too.
Yeah. Thank you, Allie. Yeah. No, not saying it's wrong or anything like that. And I do think it's not a bad question necessarily, and could be very interesting to discuss like in depth. It's just, I just not want to do it right now, but
No. And we're going back now, but a lot of time has passed. The last thing we want to do is add to that
yeah,
trauma and
exactly.
accusations.
Exactly. Okay. Here we go.
It's an experience that it's just,
Oh, wait. I need to ask you before we go back.
Okay.
He was in the room when Casey delivered, and he said this was like he's about to say like a beautiful experience, basically. Like he's saying, he's very thankful for that. And I have seen some pushback about that with the dad being in the delivery room not at other times as well, not regarding this case, just like in general. So what do you think about that?
I think everyone has different relationships with their parents, and there are some daughters who have one type of relationship with their dad, and there are other daughters who, and I'm not trying to stick it to daughters, I'm just using daughters as an example because of Casey. Other relationships, because I've explained, like, my personal, I'm very, very, I was always closer to my dad than I was my mom. And I could explain, not having him in the delivery room, but I'm just saying, like, I could explain something where I'd be comfortable enough to do in front of my dad that someone else would be like, really? Like, oh my God, I could never. So I think that it might be one way, it might seem one way. Like I wouldn't, I mean, if I didn't have anyone else, would I? Yeah, I would, like, it wouldn't be out of the possibility for me. But it wouldn't be like my first choice. But
Right.
I don't take that necessarily, because if Cindy was that I don't know, was Cindy in the room with? Did he say
Yeah.
if Cindy was there?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay. So if it's both of her parents, Lord knows he was probably sitting on the damn couch out of the way while Cindy was right there. It was her parents. She was young. Like, I don't know. I don't think it's that big of a fucking deal. Maybe if it was just her dad alone, okay. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, I don't judge it. I didn't do it. But also I wouldn't be against it. If I did though, I'd probably be like, okay, Dad, face the wall when it's time. Like, and then what I mean?
I don't think that he would be right up in there holding her leg up versus just there. You know what I mean? Like sitting over in the corner, just being a support system. I don't know what their dynamics are, but I don't immediately think highly inappropriate.
Right. Or up at the head, like where you can't see anything and you're holding the hands up.
I mean, like, listen, that shit's so fucking chaotic. Like, come on.
Yeah. Just something I thought about because I'd seen, I think two people mention it. And then also I've heard this be debated before. Not regarding the case, of course, but just in general. But.
And Cindy was a nurse, like he look at his history. She had two people she's allowed in there. There was no Kaylee's dad. Her parents were there. I don't think that's crazy.
That's a good point. There was no dad. He basically was Kaylee's dad. Let's be real. He was the male figure in her life, the authoritative male figure. And that's okay. Yeah.
If you watch the dynamics from the phone interviews, we see mom is very chaotic, frantic, anxiety riven, and dad is more calm and, hey, all right, what's up? So she probably wanted them both in to keep mom under control from being up in my shit, like, and giving me that anxiety.
Yeah, you're so right. She would be so, oh God, I can imagine she'd make you have more anxiety. And then Casey probably get annoyed with her and be rude to her. I can see that.
A nice little balance. I don't know. I don't think he was, like I said, held her fucking leg up. Like, come on.
Yeah, look here. My parents were with my sister and her husband, and my dad was at the head of the bed, and he still fainted.
Oh, poor him. Oh, God. Imagine your dad fainting for you. Oh, God.
Yeah.
When you think of it, though, like in the aspect of now that we're parents too, I think as a parent, you always just see them as your baby. And I understand that, like, I don't know, like he was there for his daughter.
Yeah, that's true. And truly, I'm so sorry to hear that. My papa was my dad. Well, my dad is like a dad to my boys, and especially my oldest. Like, he is like his dad, and I'm just so grateful and thankful. And Casey should have felt that way too, honestly. But
Allie,
yeah.
do you ever have people say like, "Oh yes, I completely agree," but you totally forgot what you just said that they're agreeing with? That's what
Yeah.
just happened to me. I'm like, "Oh shit, what did I say, Robin?" What did I just say? I don't remember.
Wait, let me see who agreed. Or
I
me.
I say yes, and then Robin said yes, MJ. Yeah, I'm like, shit, what did I say? I don't even remember what I said.
That fast.
Yep, that fast, it's gone.
Yes, MJ.
Just out of my head. Oh, okay, Robin. Yes. Sorry.
What was it? I see
Your
it now.
kid's always your baby. You're gonna view it. Doesn't matter how old. I think of that. I have one daughter, and I could just imagine no matter how old she gets, she's all gonna be my baby. I changed her diapers. Like, what do you know what I mean? Like, you don't look at it like that.
That's true. I'm sorry. I'm still thinking about you. Like, oh God, what did I say? Like, paranoia sets in.
Yeah,
Robin, you have some pretty teeth, girl.
yeah. Look at that.
Mm-hmm. All right, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Jenny 444. Hello.
It's hard to put into words just how elated you are and how happy you are to see your own child give birth to another child. It's just amazing.
And was the birth, Kaylee, okay?
What do you think?
Kaylee was fine. I mean, there was a little complication here or there, but it wasn't anything that the doctor couldn't take care of, because the doctor was right there the whole time, and other nurses and things like that. So it was well taken care of.
Now, during the pregnancy, at some point, was the subject broached about who the father of Kaylee was or was thought to be?
Ooh.
I can't remember if we exactly talked about it prior to just Kaylee being born or right after, but I know then it was brought up because, yeah, I wanted to know, because I feel it takes two to make this child, and this father needs to be made aware of that he's going to be a father and who he could possibly be, and it'd be great to meet him and see what his obligation would be. And I felt whoever the fathers needs to have an obligation for birth of this child.
Did you have an occasion then to meet the person that, at least at that point, was thought to be the father?
There was a name brought up that Casey believed could have been the father. All I remember is the last name was Baker, I believe, and that was about it. But if I can take another step forward,
Sure.
Casey also had been seeing another gentleman who had been employed at Universal Studios by the name of Jesse, that I got to understand and get to know that he could have also been the father. So he was, one of two guys possibly.
Now, when did you first meet Jesse?
I met Jesse for the very first time on the day that Kaylee was born. That had been August 9th.
How did that go?
Not very well, truthfully. I was elated to be there to see my daughter, to see my granddaughter, but Jesse did not make the best first impression with me.
All right. Now, after Kaylee was born, did she and Casey return to your home?
Yes, I think it could have been the second day or maybe third day. I think it was the second day.
And did Jesse become, at least initially, part of sort of the family group with Kaylee?
Right, Jesse, we pretty much.
Wait, that's not appropriate. Let me pause.
I'm so sorry, but you can't pull up her comment.
No, it's not appropriate of me, not you. I did it to you. I'm the one who.
Oh no, yeah, you did it to me. You take the blame. But I read that and I choked. Oh my God. First it was Carolyn Cooper's comment who said, I had like 80 people in my room. George could have been there. And I wouldn't have noticed. So first I was muted laughing at that. But then you pull out that.
George could have been there. But then I didn't see Carol's. Let me go back. What is that?
Yeah, go back and find her. It's because I had to mute to laugh at that. Like everyone's just cracking me up, man, which isn't appropriate.
I had my doctor, my husband, 2 sets of neonatologists, and NICU nurses. George could have been there and I'd not have noticed. Belle was putting in the chat, I definitely feel you guys on that. I was the same with Bentley because he was 8 weeks early and we were at a university hospital. So they were like learning too as they were going. And I had a whole team of like several, which is good also because you're getting like a lot of people. I think that's a good thing. I mean, it's better than the more heads are, but you know what I mean? More brains together. What the fuck ever, you know what I'm saying?
You said head, and I'm still thinking about poor Shiggles. Stop it.
I had about 4 nurses. I can't do it like you. 4 nurses and a midwife. They had to suction my son out. His head looked like Casey's mom.
But that's what I'm saying, you know, like him being in the delivery room, like to be honest, like it's a very chaotic situation and they usually have a couch that, you know, like it doesn't mean he was right up in the business, you know.
Yeah, true. He has a perfect round head now. I'm glad for Shiggles. And then MS girl, I love that for you. That's freaking awesome.
So
what
sorry.
are you laughing at now?
I was thinking about the suction again. Because it was just a crazy time, man. They used to fucking vacuum.
No, do not be sorry. Your laugh is like, I love it so much. It brings me so much happiness and joy for real. And when I watch your lives, I will sit there like if everyone's in bed, I sometimes have to go outside because my ass cannot be quiet because you have me laughing so hard. So do not apologize. Like, also, this is really hard emotional stuff. Melissa was very nervous about even like getting emotionally prepared, basically, and me too. So, but it's okay to, you know, to have laughs when you can, just so that you can handle the times when you can't.
It gets too heavy.
Yeah.
It gets too heavy. Okay. I'm ready, though. I'm ready.
All right. I can't watch your lives at work. See? I can't keep from laughing.
I'm sorry. It's poor Shiggles and Carol and Coop's fault, this or to be fair.
Okay, here we go.
And did Jesse become at least initially part of sort of the family group with Kaylee as an infant?
Right. Jesse, we pretty much opened up our arms to him and welcomed him in and wanted to get to know him more. And just, you know, if he was the father, I would just be happy to later get a chance to know him and see what his dynamic was going to be as far as how he was going to take care of Kaylee and Casey, or at least help take care of him.
Did there come a point when it was learned through certain scientific testing that Jesse was in fact not the father of Kaylee?
Right. I'm not sure about how long after Kaylee had gotten home, Casey and Kaylee had gotten home, that Jesse went and got a paternity test done.
As Kaylee grew, what was your role in her upbringing in her life?
I'm just her grandfather. I mean, I probably acted sometimes maybe like as a father with her because I was around her every day or nearly every single day. And to me, that was pretty awesome to have not only my daughter there, but also to have my granddaughter to be around. That's just, you know, on the scale.
See, he was like a dad. Are you going to have your father/abuser around your baby girl every day and playing the role of her father, basically?
Well, and she was blessed. I'm sorry, not every parent is gonna just allow their adult child to stay and live in their house past 18, let alone, you see how he immediately responded, oh yeah, the assumption that she was going to bring this baby into our home and live with that, like that. You're blessed. Not everyone, that's not an option for everyone, for most people. And
true,
to see what it turned into, because all I keep thinking about is she'd run up, you know, JoJo pool, you know, she wanted to go out inside that pool, you know, but you were out there partying while you left Kaylee with your lifetime abuser? Sure.
Yep, exactly. How could you go out and party knowing that your daughter was with someone who abused you as a child? I just don't understand that. I would never be, if I had the opportunity to escape an abuser for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? I don't know. Once you're grown, if they're in your home and you move out, I could see you never going back. I don't know.
Right. Let alone bringing another little girl in there, let alone in the delivery room. Let that sink in too. In the delivery room. You know what? Because we only spoke about it in the sense of, oh, is that weird? But let's think of it in the sense of that's your abuser. But you let him in there during that while you're birthing your no. Nope.
Nope, doesn't make sense. And then 4MAGA says therapeutic even when disagreement occurs. And I think they mean like the live and laughing and yeah, so I'm so glad for that.
Yeah.
Okay. I agree, Alex. You don't leave your kids you love more than anything with your abusers. You just don't. Okay. I'm with you guys on that.
Scale of 1 to 10, you have to give that a 20. It's double the excitement.
Now, what role did Cindy take in raising Kaylee?
Oh, just being a great grandmother. I mean, helping any way she could, help babysit from time, or take care of Kaylee from time to time, same way as I did. I mean, Cindy did it more frequently than I did because of my work schedule, but to be a fantastic grandmother, help provide for Kaylee in any way that she could or I could.
As Kaylee began to grow and be able to speak, did she have names for you and Cindy and other members of the family?
Well, Kaylee started calling me JoJo, and I know how probably JoJo came about because my daughter Casey used to call me Papa Joe, and that happened to be through another friend of hers that we just became very close with over the years. But JoJo was just probably easy for Kaylee to say better than Grandpa, or grandfather or something.
So you were JoJo.
I was JoJo.
How about Cindy? How did Casey?
Cindy became Cece, or possibly Grammy sometimes, but mostly it was Cece.
Now, taking us now up into 2008, the winter, spring, early months of 2008. Tell us how Kaylee had developed. In other words, what could she do? How advanced was she physically, mentally, etc.?
Well, not only I'm just a bragging grandfather.
Sure.
But
we'll take it with a grain of salt.
But she was a very vocal child. I mean, she could put a lot of words together. She could, we have a remote on our TV. She learns how to do that. There was another little button she could push on the TV to get it to change channels, which I thought was amazing. She could turn on the VCR, put her own DVDs in. Oh my gosh, she knew to go inside of our pantry area and get the plastic jar of peanut butter. We had the small one, and go get herself a spoon, have her come over and ask you to open it up so she could have a spoonful of peanut butter. God, puzzles to go together, the way she'd bring crayons to you to color every day and make Play-Doh little things for herself. I mean, you name it, she could do it. And I knew from working with her, or from us doing things with her, she was a very bright child. You would sing a song with her once, she could sing it next time with you, which to me was just amazing.
So in terms of physical dexterity, she was able to open drawers, open doors, things of that sort.
Oh, right. There would be no thing that she couldn't accomplish. I mean, we've seen that. We put the proper security plastic knobs on doorknobs and stuff like that because, yeah, she could open things up for her age. She was really something.
Now, in the early summer, late spring, early summer of 2008, did you believe that your daughter was employed?
That's sort of a two-part answer for me.
Sure.
Yes and no.
Okay. Explain that for us, will you?
I always wanted to give my daughter the benefit of the doubt of working and providing for her own daughter because she was a single mom. But at different times, and I would question about her money or things like that, how she was providing for Kaylee.
Okay, let me stop you for a second because I don't want to go too far afield of this, but what was it that she told you about her employment, let's say in May and June of 2008? What was it that she told you
Well,
about
that she was still employed by Color Vision. She's moving on as an event planner, I believe, through Universal Studios at the time, but also she was starting to work a part-time job at Sports Authority, not too far away from our home.
And as far as the Universal Studios job, did you believe that she was actually working there in May and June of 2008?
I was wanting to believe that she was working there, yes, because I mean, she still had a universal ID. Every time I would be talking to her and asking her prior to me going to work, are you going to work today? Yeah, I've got something going on at Universal. I'm doing this event planning and things like that. So yeah, I was believing and hoping that she was working there, yes.
Did she have a routine reflective of someone going to work?
Pretty much so. I mean, I know she worked a lot more like a early afternoon to an early evening type shift. Just went at 1 or 2 o'clock, and I'd come home till like 8 or 10 o'clock at night. I mean, it could vary. I know.
So what?
Mhm.
She's,
Mhm.
oh my God.
Who do you think was taking care of Kaylee?
Right. Them. And
Right.
where the fuck was she?
Friends stealing mom's checkbook and stuff.
It's like from 2 until, 8, 10. So basically she sleeps in, gets up, whatever, like any young person, right? It's not really ready till afternoon and then goes out all evening every
Yeah.
day.
And
I
who's taking care of Kaylee?
Mm-mm-mm.
But
So
you know,
not only leaving her with them to work and stuff like that, but to party, like
party.
something that you don't have to do. Like,
Yep. And even when she was home, she was sleeping as if that was a work schedule. No, it was her partying schedule.
Yeah.
Kids at that age wake up at like 7 a.m. if you're lucky. And they're asleep after dinner, So she wasn't with Kaylee.
Yep. And you're so right. If you're lucky, hell, I just told you, remember Bentley got up at like 7:11 yesterday or something.
Yep. That's it. Like
the last couple of days. Yeah.
mm-mm-mm.
Crazy. And look at her. What do you think she's like? What do you read from her face? Because I don't read anything. It's really hard for me with her right now. So I said, like, she reminds me of like psychopath or something, which I know that's not like a term used anymore. I know that it's antisocial personality. I'm not saying she has that. I don't think she really fits that all the criteria, but she has no emotion. Like, what the hell? I don't know. She's empty. She's like, what do you think?
I think she's emotionless. I think that if you asked Casey the same question that George was asked, and George was able, I don't know if you guys noticed, he was able to list about 5 different things right off the top of his head that Kaylee would do. And that is something that you're able to do as a parent, right? The little things down to being able to get that damn peanut butter and the spoon and come walk right over and do that.
Yeah.
He spent the time with her. I think if you ask Casey, she would have to stop and literally think. Because think back to when her mom found that list and it had food on it. And she's like, like, what was that for? That was just a menu of items I'm going to eat when I go on vacation. And, those are items Kaylee eats. They're items I eat too. She doesn't even know. Her parents know what she eats and what she does. And the fact that I'm getting more emotion as an outsider, right? Thinking about, because as George is saying it, I'm imagining her doing these things. And yet there is no emotion from Casey. None. Even if you want me to believe your story, where is the emotion thinking about your little girl putting in the DVDs, being able to sing those little songs? Like, where is that emotion? Because you would still anticipate the loss. You're feeling the loss, but she's feeling nothing.
You're so right, because you're a grieving parent at this time. Damn, I can't find a hair bow, but yeah, you're a grieving parent at this time. You would think that this being talked about you would see that in your behavior. I don't know. It's funny. Like, it's weird, not fun. It's just strange. I can't get a read on her at all. But a couple comments, like, I agree with you. She's showing nothing, but I want to read because I agree with these two. But first, let me say, MK, I'm glad that you're safe. And thank you for letting us know. He said the storm sirens were going off, I believe, and stuff. Yeah. Okay, so Kate Kell says she looks soulless. That's another way to describe it. Like, I would agree with that. Robin says, I'm trying to look sad, but she is legit unbothered, concentrating on not showing emotion.
I don't think so. I think she couldn't show emotion if she wanted to.
See, yes, that's what I'm like. Yeah.
You can't not show it. Even listen, because when George was saying how you'd be able to sing a song and she like it effortless came right out of his, because he knows the same way. If you ask any of you, say, you know, what about your kids? Like, what are they? You can list the stories off left and right with like, so in my mind, I'm like, you will never hear her little voice sing those songs again. Where is that emotion from mom? Where is that?
Yeah. Oh God, I cannot imagine. I feel like that would just, like it hurts my heart just thinking about that. Like being in the shoes of a grieving parent.
Yeah.
And I'm so sorry for anybody in the chat who has lost a child, because I feel like this could probably be a tough conversation. And just know that I'm always sorry anytime we talk about and I'll say this to you every so often, because I think about it when we're talking about these cases. You know, I'm sure that some of them are hard to hear depending on the situation and stuff. So I'm just so sorry.
Definitely, yeah.
Trulia says evil. I just want to see if there were any more from like Kathy or Tess, like the psychology aspect. Because I don't think she fits the antisocial personality disorder, because I do believe that isn't there like usually like getting in trouble a lot, like not like going against authority, but not just like regular authority, like legal authority, things like that. But I can't remember. It's been years since I took psychology in college, and it was only one class, so don't know too much.
Sometimes I think there are just not everything comes down to that, versus I think there are just some, and I see this in more women, this right here, the same way I saw it with Tisha.
Mm-hmm.
You care about yourself more than anything. And when you are that entitled and you are not held accountable and you're able to lie, and that's why not holding someone accountable is so dangerous. It just gets more and 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 more, and to the point where this is what you created. And yeah, I'm sure psychology, it's a factor too, but sometimes I just think there are cold, heartless people out there, and there might not be at a deeper reasoning versus just selfish, lying, entitled women.
Yeah, that's true. Or it could be like true evil, you know what I mean, like just to the core. But you're right about that. Like there are, oh God, I cannot stand a liar or a manipulator. If I find out that you are like that, I'm far the fuck away. I don't care if you're family to me or not. I cannot stand somebody, and because I've dealt with that in my life with people that were just so manipulative. You could not trust anything they say. Like anything and everything is, you have to like, you wear yourself out trying to get to the truth of the matter. And it's like doing one thing, like act in a certain way to get their way for something else, instead of just being straight up and like, I don't know, I just can't stand it. It's exhausting. But yeah. Okay. So curious, Christine. So antisocial would be like if you're what you think of as like a psychopath, which isn't technically a word that's used medically, that would be like antisocial personality disorder. And I think sociopathy too, they're both the same. Like that's the way that I understand it, but somebody let me know if I'm wrong. Tess is histrionic, which is hypersexual, risk-taking, dramatic, and loves attention. But what about this like emptiness? Here we go, Kathy. Thank you. Antisocial is progressive criminal behavior, opposition to authority, lying, etc. But she does seem more sociopathic to me. She was obviously charming on the outside. Interesting. I always look for, if Kathy's in here, I'll be looking for her comments about this. Okay, you ready, Melissa?
I'm ready.
working in event planning that she had explained to us. Sometimes you could work just during that particular event that you're scheduled for, which could be 4 or 6 hours long. So I just took it as she was there for that period of time, yes.
What did she tell you? Well, at this point in time, let's say May and June of 2008, was Cindy working with your wife?
Yes.
What was her work schedule?
Cindy was Monday through Friday. She could be leaving the house anytime between 7:30, 8 o'clock. And she would work till 5, sometimes 6 o'clock in the evening. Could be a little bit later, but generally that was her general work schedule, Monday through Friday.
How about you during that same period of time? What was your work schedule?
I was working an afternoon shift. I was working 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. Some people call it a second shift or an afternoon shift. I was working in security for a company out of Altamont Springs.
And were you working the same Monday through Friday schedule as Cindy or different?
No, I worked Sunday through Thursday. I was off on Fridays and Saturdays.
Now, during the periods of time when Casey, you believed, was at work, and you and Cindy were both at work, did she indicate to you who was watching Kaylee?
Well, there was a name that was brought up, and I don't think it was maybe a year prior to all this stuff occurring from us. I think it was probably just shortly after the first of the year that I can basically remember a girl by name of Zanny's name was brought into it. Or
Like, what is the point of this back at that time, Melissa? If her parents are working and Casey's claiming she's working, but she's actually not, why wouldn't she just keep her own child? I don't understand.
Verified to know what Kaylee also experienced while she was alive.
Me too. That's sad, but oh God. What was going on at that time? What do you think? Like, it scares me saying that, what you probably think was happening.
Casey did not have money other than what she stole, which was not a consistent income. Who do you think she was finding to just watch Kaylee every day, Monday through Friday, while she went off to her fake job to party? That wouldn't exist, Allie. Who's watching Kaylee every day, Monday through Friday, for no money? It makes you wonder what the hell she was doing.
Yeah.
And I think she was dragging Kaylee around with her. And when it got too much, knocking her out.
Yeah, it's really sad to think about what life must have been like for her. But I think it was very good at times too, because those pictures like of her at their house and stuff.
At their house.
Yeah, she looks happy there at least, because God, how sad.
Yep.
And then this is interesting. Trulia said she always had heard that she was very charming. She remembers hearing that even during the trial. And then no, Tess, you both have just your masters, I just you're the pro too, both of you guys. I just was asking Kathy too, because I had already read yours and I hadn't seen hers, and I saw you guys kind of chatting about it. Let's see, I can't get past the 31 days. Did not want any responsibility. Well, then you don't get pregnant. You know what I mean? When you get pregnant, then that's when you decide that, hey, if you are not ready, if you're too young or something, there are lots of people out there who would love to have a baby. Her parents would have loved to take care of her, and just, you know what I mean? I'm sure they would have. Hell, we heard Cindy threatening her with it, at the beginning in the phone call. Remember?
Yep.
I'm gonna get her. And I can imagine, I thought at the time, I wonder if that was something they had said to her before.
I'm sure.
Yeah, because it sounded like this wasn't the first time. I'm sure that they probably had kind of battled and said that at other times too.
Their shit was locked up because Casey would be breaking in, stealing checks. That's why her mom had it ready to go. I will throw your ass in jail for all of the things you are stealing from me, all of the checks, all of the money, all the credit cards. Tell me where Kaylee is. They knew exactly. This was not a first-time conversation.
Yep. You're right. Oh, Allie B, I'm so sorry. But see, this is what I mean. Like, there are people who would give anything. And then you see pieces of shit like this, or like Adam Montgomery. I think of Harmony, like, God Almighty. These people suck. They suck. Okay. And then Amber made a good point too. Like, their careers are not easy careers. It's a cop and a nurse, and they're taking care of Kaylee too. Like, they deserved a little bit of respect, but okay, you ready?
Yep.
I guess the name came out later on as Zenaida, but that's what I was told. So her
Freaking Zenaida.
this lady was taking care of Kaylee's. His name was Annie.
She was a babysitter when you and Cindy were not available.
Yes.
Now, I want to direct your attention, to June the 16th. Well, before I do that, could we have States Exhibit A? Let me unpublish first. Could we have States Exhibit A for the monitor for the witness? You recognize that picture?
That's Kaylee. That's my granddaughter, Kaylee.
This time, Your Honor, move into evidence States Exhibit A for identification.
What says the defense? There being no objection, it be received in evidence as states numbered.
She's adorable.
She is exceptionally adorable, Allie.
Do you know approximately when this was taken in terms of its proximity to the last time that you saw her?
Tess, and that's super brave of you, and that is the right thing to do. If that's the case, if you're not ready, if you're not able, if you can't provide, there's different reasons, right? But I'm proud of you for that, and anybody who does that. I think that is the brave and right thing to do. But just want to say that.
Just remember the name Annie too, because not only was Zanny mentioned, but Annie was the name mentioned as the babysitter.
Okay. And I know we talked about, just a note, that we have heard the theory and discussed about the Zanny. Was it actually Zanny? That kind of like medicine. Yeah. But we can talk about that more. Let's listen to as it continues. But I don't know about that. I think like the chloroform. I don't know. I don't know what I think yet. So that's why I'm not ready. What do you think about that though?
I'm gonna wait and see what they present again to let you know what my new theory is.
Okay. Here we go.
This would have to be probably the early part of 2008. I'm just going to guess somewhere in that January to March, April time. I'm just taking a wild guess. Probably in that first quarter of 2008.
Does this fairly and accurately depict her appearance the last time you saw her in terms of general appearance and hair and all those kinds of things?
Generally, yes, it does. I mean, she could have her hair back from time to time. She could have glasses on. It just, this is definitely Kaylee.
Now, take us to the morning 16th of June of 2008. It was a Monday morning. Tell us how that morning began for you.
With me waking up probably about the time that my wife had just left for work or going to work. Me getting up and having my normal cup of coffee, just starting my day off a little bit early like I generally have, and having Kaylee come out and be able to spend some time with her.
Was that a normal course of events for you to have some morning time with Kaylee?
Well, absolutely. I mean, there would be times that after she'd be in Casey's room with her, she would come out, and I'd take her first thing is to make sure that she would freshen herself up, brush her teeth, facility around that she needed to do because she was starting to just, maybe wash her face off and just say, hey, this is how you want to go with JoJo and get some cereal and things. So that was the start of our day. That was pretty much not an everyday occurrence, but it was pretty regular.
And is that how it went on this particular morning?
Oh, absolutely. It was a great morning to just have some fun together. Her and I act silly and dance around and watch a video or whatever it might be. So color.
What was her favorite video? Did she have a favorite?
Oh my gosh. Lady and the Tramp was a fantastic video for her to watch. 101 Dalmatians that she called Dalmatians. There was just a lot of different things that just captivated her that she loved. I wish I could remember more right now, but those two, I know she watched quite frequently and enjoyed the most.
Now, this particular morning, do you recall when you first saw Casey?
Probably could have been about 9, 10 o'clock that morning, roughly right around there, her just getting up and getting her day started and just, I can't remember exactly what she did to get ready that day for work or something like that. I know to me, it was a lot of precious time for me to spend with Kaylee. So whatever Casey could have done in that morning, been on the computer, whatever she was doing, I'd let her do her thing, because when you got time with your grandchild, your own child sometimes takes a back seat to that. But
Was it just a normal morning? Anything out of the ordinary occurred? Anything different than the usual mornings that you had?
not really anything I can really say that really stuck out at all. I just know that I was just so thankful to have time with Kaylee, talking to Casey. I'm sure we had a conversation about work or something. I don't remember the specifics about that aspect of it, but I do know that it was, when people talk about a typical or routine morning before they went off to work, probably just one of those typical times that we all sort of just take for granted sometimes.
All right. So did there come a time when Kaylee...
That's true. We do. I just wanted to add quickly, yep. We do take it for granted. You know what I mean?
Yep, we do.
Life is short.
And Casey left the house that day.
That is something that is forever in my mind, that I can't forget that day, because that's the last day that I saw Kaylee and Casey together.
Wow.
I was watching a specific program on TV. It's on the Food Channel on our one of our local cable TVs. And this gentleman who has this show called Drive Up Diners and Dives. I've just been amazed by his stuff. I just like him going around. But what's really just amazing is, I remember the time because it was a commercial break on TV, and I remember Kaylee coming out from Casey's room, dressed in a nice little pink top. She had her blue jeans, little shorts on, her white sandals, pink socks, her white sunglasses, her hair pulled back, and she had a little backpack on. And I said, "Where are you going?" And she says, "Going with Mommy." And I said, "Oh, really?" I said, "Where are you going?" "I'm going to see Zanny." And I said, "Really? Great." I'm just excited. I'm just knowing that she's happy, and I can see excitement in her. And
Kaylee talked about her?
Yeah.
Wow.
And she was so young. So, yeah, I'm surprised that...
And what does that even mean? Is that something Mom just told her? Is there
Right.
someone else that she was calling that?
I don't know.
Going to see Zanny. Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
And within a few minutes, Casey comes out and, dressed. She says, "Dad, we're going to work. I might be home late, or I'll let you guys know I might be staying over."
Staying over where?
She said, probably Zanny's house, because Zanny lived somewhere close by, or she didn't want to come home too late. And plus Kaylee would be in bed between 8:30, probably 9 o'clock. And she said, okay, it's something that happened every once in a while. It wasn't an occurrence that occurred. I think it could be every once in a great while. She would stay with a friend or stay at Zanny's house or something like that. So
up to this point in time, had you ever met Zanny?
No, I never met Zanny, never had any reason to, because I thought that's who Kaylee was seeing.
You told us about the conversation with Kaylee and with Casey. What happened? I
went out, like I did when I could see them when seeing Casey going off to work, and walking out with Kaylee and seeing Kaylee getting placed in the car, getting buckled in her car seat. Just a normal type stuff that I did. I'd blow her a kiss and say, "Jojo, I'll see you later," and she'd blow a kiss back and give Casey a hug. just told me, drive safe, make sure you come home, not too late, just normal father, grandfather type things to do.
And did you see them leave in a vehicle?
They left in Casey's car, which is a Pontiac Sunfire.
That's a white Pontiac Sunfire.
Yes.
Did you ever see Kaylee again?
I've never seen Kaylee since June 16th. I haven't seen her since.
Now, Mr. Anthony, I need to ask you some questions. Something
Oh
else.
gosh.
Oh my
Have
God.
you ever sexually molested your daughter, Casey Anthony?
No, sir.
Have you ever committed any sexually inappropriate
Mm.
act with or in the presence of your daughter, Casey Anthony?
No, sir.
Okay, hold up. I got to breathe for a minute, Melissa, and we're about done. I got like 2 minutes. They waited till the very. Well, we're gonna see him again. We know that, but
Oh yeah.
oh
Oh,
my
yeah.
God.
Because he is state's witness for anyone who's he is the state's witness right now. And so when Jose comes up for a cross, he has to stay within the scope of the questions that were asked of George now. But he'll also be called again, and then he'll eventually be called as defense witness. And that's when they could open up really wherever they want to go. And then state has to limit it to the scope of what defense put forward.
Yeah. Look at the chat. Amber's what Shakto said, wow. And then I believe you, sir. Amber, I believe him. Maddie, she shook her head no. Oh my God, the head shake no. Like we should, can we replay it? Because
Yeah, please do.
oh my God. Like, I'm sorry. The look in her eye was like, maybe I'm like biased but the look in her eye was not one of like hurt or pain, like experiencing your abuser say on the stand, he did not abuse you. It was like anger, like, like you're not, this is my story. I'm not going to look like a liar. So I'm going to shake my head. No, to
Right.
look, I don't know. That's just what I got.
Well, and also pay attention to when he's asking the question of George. I'm observing what his body, I'm so happy the camera stayed on him. I'm observing what his body language is when he's being asked. And I know you have that anticipation of, I'm going to answer, but right as they said, like, molested your daughter, watch his lips. It's almost like he had a physical impact of even the idea was like a distaste in his mouth before he goes to answer.
Okay, I'll pay closer attention. I did see like almost like, I don't know, like not shaking, but like, I don't know, something like I noticed something as he was answering, and then he like looked down and take that
Yes.
deep breath. Yeah. The head shake was of course intentional. I don't believe he ever abused Casey. It was like it took his breath
Yes.
just by being in question.
Yes.
Okay, let's hear it again.
I've never seen Kaylee since June 16th. I haven't seen her since.
Freaking sad.
Now, Mr. Anthony, I need to ask you some questions about something else.
But he's been
Have
looking
you
down.
ever sexually
Gotta get baseline
molested your daughter, Casey Anthony?
right there.
No, sir.
Yeah.
Have you ever committed any sexually inappropriate act with or in the presence of your daughter,
You know what I mean?
Casey Anthony?
No, sir.
Oh, he's mad. Look at
And
that.
pause.
Were you present?
Because at the same time, he has been looking down when he's been consistently. That didn't shift. But at the same time, he has an entire courtroom staring at him. And what was just put forward, I know it's been like a couple of days since we listened to defense opening statement, but that's moments before. And looking down could also be that comfort zone, because looking up when you're being accused of stuffing your penis in your child's mouth, sorry to get graphic, but that's literally what Jose said. Can you imagine holding your head up high? The eyes that are on you, and he sees his daughter head shaking. Do you don't think he doesn't? He sees it. I
Yeah.
couldn't imagine. So looking down also could be that comfort of trying what we do when we feel attacked is to make ourselves smaller, as small as we can in the room, because we feel like prey, right? So him looking down and getting like I see himself closing himself off because he feels very attacked.
Yeah, I agree with that. It would be hard as hell to look up, like you said. How do you hold your head high in that moment? I'm fucking disturbed, Melissa. I really am. Like, this is like physically. I know you guys feel it too. Like, it is. It is disturbing. I don't even have words for it. Like, you can physically feel the anger, the disgust, the heartbreak, all of it at one time. It's just, oh my God.
Well, and I'll say this, and this is not going off of evidence at all, okay? But I'm a big person on feeling energy, okay? And that's why I say I always want to see a witness up on the stand. It is not good enough for me to be relayed something, because watching someone, watching their energy, watching the way they say something, it means something, at least to me. Like, I could determine, do I think you're bullshitting me or not? I feel like unanimously we all would agree, if there was even that slight chance we felt he could have done this, okay? Because a majority, you believe the chick, right? And this was at a different point in time.
Oh yeah.
To believe this father did that, okay? Even the accusation alone, I'm surprised more people aren't on the George did it, okay? But if there was even that slightest little bit where we felt in our stomach, our mom defense would go up, right? And protecting of Kate, and we would feel it. The fact that nobody's like radar, and I won't say nobody because I know some people do, and that's fine, but at least for the majority of us here, that little radar isn't registering at all. At least speaks volumes to me, because if I thought even there was a chance and I felt something was off, but I don't feel it at all.
I don't either. And also, none of the, like, not evidence, but just the circumstances surrounding it doesn't make sense.
I have seen more emotion in George, and not even struggling to find a memory, even down to the 101 Dalmatians. And let me tell you how she said the word Dalmatians, and I'm seeing the emotion, and I'm watching him. And that's what I'm saying with looking down. He's consistently, when he's pulling from memory, and I'm watching that, it's consistent throughout, versus, okay, when I see him pulling from memory, he's looking like this, but when I'm determining if he's lying, he's looking the other direction. No, consistently he's pulling memory the same exact way. So I don't see any shift in behavior that would indicate a lie.
Yeah, true. I agree with that. And then, okay, Shakto has two great comments. One is, I think the pursing of his lips is an indicator that he's angry, frustrated, and disgusted at her for even putting him in this situation. And I totally saw that, especially the anger and frustration and stuff. All of it, honestly.
But at the same time, what I see is him protecting her, because if I let this, I still see him protecting her, because his daughter is going to get put to death. And I think the love as a parent's coming forward and taking it.
Yeah, it's true. Crazy, man. And then this comment of his, like, we've talked about this before. As a boy mom, it's like so scary to think about, especially because there have been times where just people have been around that have, like, that it just makes you wonder, could that ever happen? You know what I mean? Back when I was in West Virginia, a family member took in a foster kid who actually did some false accusing of people and stuff. And once you learn that, it's like, I don't know, it just scared me to death. Would ruin somebody's life. I don't know.
All they have to do is make the accusation. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
It is terrifying as a boy mom. Okay. And then I think that was it. I did start a couple. Oh, Melissa, thank you for being a member for 13 months. Your channel was my first. You led me to MJ and Jen. Thank you. I love that. And I'm glad that you're here and there. And thank you for being here.
Follow Melissa.
Yeah. And then MK has a great comment too. I had started this. There are actually cases of this, and she robs the true victims of SA by a family member by making up stories. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
just like Letitia.
Yep.
And her accusation, she does the same thing.
Yep.
Even with the mental health, you're setting people back that
Yep.
you're just, these people, man.
I know.
My 2 kids are boys and it's terrifying. I know, Skadoosh, it really is. But
Well, we hear a lot about our daughters, and as a girl mom, it's terrifying, right? But we all know it's terrifying for to raise daughters out there. What they're not talking about is how terrifying it is to raise sons in the day and age that we particularly live in right now. And it is terrifying. I sympathize with everyone.
yeah, and you hear about, like, I think some people think like they have to look out for their little girls more when that's not true. I just saw the other day that 6 boys were lured on Fortnite.
Yeah.
By a grown man, and
Well, acknowledging that there is a reason to be fearful for your sons doesn't take away a need to be fearful for your daughters. I just think not enough attention is brought to it. The same way not enough attention is brought to male victims of domestic violence, which is much more common than you think. It just doesn't get the same attention that female victims get.
Yeah, but you will see, like, some people, they'll just, like, their daughters, they're like, oh gosh, but their boys, oh, they're tough, they got it. No, you better watch out for all of them,
man. I hate the society we live in. Can't have it both ways.
Yeah. And then Maddie said, I told her in the chat, that's something you have always said. Everyone remembers the accusation. No one remembers the retraction.
Ain't that the truth? Slap a thigh.
All right. I know we got until like 36, so we're just about done. Here we go. This is now he's already started the question, so I'm going to try to do like 2 seconds back. Okay, there we go.
Appropriate act with or in the presence of your daughter, Casey Anthony.
All right.
No, sir.
Look at him looking at her.
Were you present in your home when Kaylee Anthony died?
No, and when I heard that today, it hurt really bad.
Oh my God. I didn't see him look at her.
Yeah, he looked at her, and because she's sitting there shaking her freaking head no.
Oh my God. I cannot.
You hear that crack?
Oh, that hurt really bad. Oh my God. Yes, I heard his. And so does this mean that he didn't know fully?
He does. Yeah, they didn't know fully. He knew what they were going to open the door to, but that was clearly the first time he heard that he was in the home the day that she died.
Oh my God.
But honestly, again, even if you want me to believe he could mimic emotion, it's those little things I look for, the quiver in the voice and that voice crack where your lungs do that shaking thing with the emotion.
Yes. How do you fake that?
Yeah. And he wanted her to, he was saying that to Casey. Look back, like if you jump back, that was really hard to hear. That was to Casey.
Yeah. Oh my God. Pointer Lover said earlier, by the way, I meant to star it, but I didn't. I was looking, it was clear in the comments, but she said, oh my gosh, OJ too. Yeah, by the time I'm going to have a heart attack by the end of this or something.
I'm sorry.
Okay. It is a emotional roller coaster, but okay, here we go.
Now, Mr. Anthony, I need to ask you some questions about something. Have you ever sexually molested your daughter, Casey Anthony?
No, sir.
Have you ever committed any sexually inappropriate act with or in the presence of your daughter, Casey Anthony?
No, sir.
He looked at her.
Were you
not
present
exactly at her
in your home when Kaylee Anthony died?
No, and when I heard that today, it hurt really bad.
Aw.
Because if I would have known something would have happened to Kaylee, we wouldn't be here today.
Now,
Oh,
let me just ask you a couple of questions. When you were a law enforcement officer, were you trained in CPR?
Oh my God.
Yes, sir.
Is there any extent that you would not have gone to save Kaylee's life?
I would have done everything possible, humanly possible, to save my granddaughter.
I believe
If
that.
what was stated prior would have happened, I would have done anything I would to save my granddaughter.
Did
believe
you dispose of the body of your granddaughter?
No, I did not.
Did you obtain duct tape from your shed or garage and place it over the nose and mouth of Kaylee Anthony?
No, I did not.
Oh.
Did you have any role or any knowledge that Kaylee Marie Anthony died on June 16th, 2008, prior to recent revelations?
No, sir. I never had any duct tape. I never knew of anything that happened to Kaylee until our life started to unfold on July 15th, 2008, and when Kaylee was found on December 11th.
Oh, Melissa.
Your Honor, I have no further questions of the witness at this time. I would like to reserve the right to recall him for additional areas.
There we go.
Cross-examination.
Okay, hold up. Melissa Jade, holy shit, what are we going to do? Because this next part is going to kill me. I don't know, it's going to kill you. I don't know what we're going to do. Whew.
Even like what I see from George is such genuine emotion when those questions are being asked, not for himself, but heartbroken because he loved that baby. And Casey, man, all I see is anger and disdain and mad for her.
Yes.
That's it.
We haven't seen her voice crack we heard her in the interviews. We weren't seeing her. Oh God. And by her own story, she knew she was dead. He can't even answer a question about her dying or speak of the day that she passed away.
No.
Oh my God almighty.
That choked me up, and I'm trying not to get upset, but like she didn't just take Kaylee's life. She took all of their lives in a sense. I don't like to say that to try to minimize versus what lives did they have after that? Like you ruined that man.
Oh my God. It's crazy, but what are we going to do, dude? This is not going to be easy. Like the testimony. Can you imagine what he's going to say to him?
It's going to be nasty. And so I want you guys to prepare yourself for the next part because Jose Baez is going to be getting up. And this is just going to be one of many days where George Anthony is up on that stand. But it is going to be accusatory. It is going to be nasty. There's going to be a lot of implication. It's going to be hard. It's going to be very hard.
Yeah. And we just heard, they reserve the right to call him later. They're going to many times. Jose may call him. We don't know. He's coming up many times. But look at her right here. She's doing this like bottom jaw out, like those bottom teeth. Like, I can't, you know what I mean? Like that kind of, what does that say to you? Like that face? Just like anger or what? Because why would she even be mad?
She's mad. I think one, she's putting on more of a performance for the jury to make sure they know. No. But I think she's mad because she's going to go to death. That's what she's up against in her mind right now. And she knows. And I think she's mad for all the wrong reasons. And I don't know. I think her anger comes from knowing her dad testified against her at the grand jury. And she's willing to sacrifice anyone to save herself. That's it.
That probably is a good reason. That's the one good reason I can think she has to be mad. And then I think the other part is probably just she's being over dramatic, trying to sell it, like you said. And Amber said over dramatic in the chat, lined up with exactly what you said about it's a performance. But
Well,
damn it, man.
and I want to say it's going to be a bit until we get to Lee. But I want you guys to remember that Jose opened statements with not only claiming her dad did that, but that Lee, her brother, attempted to, and even had to get a paternity test to see if he was Kaylee's father, which would imply, what do you mean? You said attempted to. Now it would have been successful, and then all the way up until the age that she got pregnant. Okay, but I want you to see is the difference in body language we could possibly see from Casey when it's her dad up there being questioned like that, and the anger, versus let's see what emotion we see from Casey when it's her brother.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. And what about Cindy? Her too, because just in general, her emotions around her. But
Yeah.
I wonder how she will be with her brother, because it seemed like she was different with him.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Tess says it blows my mind she has friends and men date her. I don't get it. See, not for me, because I do think she's a pretty girl, and now she's an attractive woman. So I think men probably will some men, not all, some will put aside anything because she's hot, right? Or give her a chance at least. So I'm not surprised that she has the dating. Now, friends, that does surprise me, because if you're a woman and
Dude.
your buddy is Casey Anthony, I hope your ass ain't got kids. That's for sure.
You will find guys who will date anyone. And when I say that, I'm not trying to insult guys, versus there have been, I can't believe Gypsy Rose has a baby right now with it blows my mind, but I have seen so many chicks and I'm like, what the hell are you doing? But it makes me realize anyone can find someone, honestly.
Yep, that's true. That is so true. There's someone out there for everyone. But MK, here's the thing. I learned this when I covered her coming out on social media. She was dating a guy a couple years ago who was married with kids, wealthy man. Him and his family moved away. She followed them, got an apartment near their house, broke up their marriage, and they dated for a short period of time. And then, they broke up. But so you're cheating on your wife with her. Like, I don't know.
Men like crazy for whatever reason.
Gypsy is a total no.
Yo, I was earlier when Portia said, like how it looked like there was a whole mother head on top of her baby because of the vacuum. All I was thinking about is like a little baby coming out looking like Gypsy Rose, because she has that tiny little head, man. If you know, if you've seen the photos, like especially with her smaller, like younger, like she has I just imagine like a little Gypsy Rose head on top of the baby's head.
That's funny.
She said she wasn't going to put that baby on social media, and now she has that baby on social media, man.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that she was putting the baby on.
Oh, yeah. I can't stand her.
And then, no, Tess, I said the females, I don't understand that one. That one, I don't, but, yeah. Let's see. She's a hoe bag. All the women are prettier at closing time. Neat.
All of them are prettier at closing time.
Gypsy reminds me of a possum. Oh, God, Melissa, the possum with the Capri Sun.
Yo, you guys, Allie didn't realize that when a possum plays dead, that it doesn't just roll on its back and like stick its tongue out, like it freezes. She thought this possum was attacking her, like because it didn't move and it was staring at her. I'm like, Allie, no. That just means they're playing dead. They freeze. Like I've watched videos of people go up to possums and like touch it and it just won't move because it's playing dead. But she's like, this shit was challenging me. It was staring at me. It wouldn't move. I'm like, that is playing dead. That is what they do when they play dead. Oh my God, it was so funny.
Okay, I'm going to show you guys. I showed it on Patreon, but I couldn't explain it because my audio went out. But okay, so I actually hit it with a crock because like I threw a shoe at it.
I
Because
wasn't gonna say it.
I know. I was like, screw it, I'm going to, because I thought I was literally having a rabid ass animal up here. I'm used to raccoons. They will, if they like stay when you're going, go, scream at them, something's wrong. So I'm like screaming at this possum, like taking picture of it through the window because it had already came up in the yard. I'm going to show y'all exactly. It came up in the front yard while I was live. I snapped a picture. Then I went inside and he was on the porch in this little trash can I have that had an empty Capri Sun, and he was literally drinking it. I'm about to show you guys. But I opened the door and I was like, get out of here. And he just stood up and looked at me, and I like stomped and yelled, and he just stood there, and I was like, oh my God, he's rabid. Like, so I started grabbing shoes at the door and throwing them. And then one did hit him and he like did a front roll and ran off. Or like
That's what made it so funny. Is she was telling me how it was sitting up there, and I was like, "Rah, woo!" And she's like, "It was rabid. It didn't move." And I'm like, "No, it." She's like, "So I threw a crock and it missed it. It didn't move. And then I threw a crock." And the other one hit it into his face, and then it did this somersault and ran away. I'm like, Allie, that is literally like it didn't move because it was playing dead. Okay, but this poor thing probably was frozen, and it saw this crock come flying at it, and it was like, just hold still, just hold still.
Oh,
I got yeeted with a fucking crock because she's over here thinking it's rabid, and he's over here thinking just play dead.
dude, I felt so bad when Melissa told me that. I was like, man, I'm terrible. I did not know that. I thought they would like fall over and actually look dead. Like,
no,
like they're not gonna stick their tongue out and just roll.
I was like, Allie, you're thinking totally Hollywood. It doesn't lay on its back with its little paws up and stick its tongue out. Like it just freezes. Like, don't move.
Yeah, I definitely was thinking Hollywood. And then look, Curious Christine, no, I did not know they can't carry rabies. If I did, that would have helped a lot. For sure. Oh, see, Carter said, when you said crock, I thought, damn, she's a badass. Where'd she get the crock from?
She's like, shoo, like eating crocs.
All right, now look at this, y'all.
This one is funny, yo.
This is a little, like, it used to be a flower pot Bentley painted, and it got all rusted and the flower died and stuff. So I use it, and I'll just tell the kids, throw your trash in it if like you are drinking like this, and then I'll dump it like I dump it all the time. So I got this picture through the window, but look at him. He literally has both hands on the Capri Sun and his mouth on the straw. I cannot get over that.
When Allie said, I have this possum drinking a Capri Sun, and I'm like, Allie, come on, you know. And she sent me this picture, and I'm like, holy shit, that possum's drinking a Capri Sun, straw and all. She's
like, I didn't expect it to be like really drinking it like that.
Because it reminds me of Jen Liu's Avatar with the monkey drinking a Capri Sun. You know, like this one, it has little fingers. It's holding that Capri Sun and totally drinking through the straw.
Dude, yeah, the fingers are like really creepy, honestly. Look at him. He's literally looking up at me through the window while he's drinking it. That is freaky. Look at him.
It's rabid.
I still can't believe he got all over. Like, that's obvious. What do you think? A bear is gonna think you're dead standing up like that? No,
I don't know. They kind of the way they say if like a bear. I'll send you videos, Allie, because it's the craziest thing. A lot of the time they'll show their teeth too, and they'll freeze. And these crazy ass drunk people will walk up and be like, "Hello."
Oh my gosh.
Rub it, and it's just frozen, like with its teeth, like it's the weirdest thing. But that's how they play dead. Just don't move. Just don't move.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't get over that. Like, that's funny. People walking up doing it. It just
yes.
Oh my gosh. Anyways, you guys. So yeah, that we laughed about that last night. You were so funny when you're like, oh my God, it's like it literally drinking.
It's literally drinking that Capri Sun, like with intention.
No, but man, I'm so glad you are doing this with me. It's fun. It's an emotional roller coaster. Like, I've been very sad in the last 2 hours, very angry. I've laughed hysterically. I don't know, but
Yeah.
I am glad that you're doing it with me, and I can't wait to learn the rest. I really can't.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too. And so thank you so much for having me on, and we'll prepare for the second half of George. But I think it's, like I said many times, I think it's really good, especially as we go into other trials, to have this in mind, because it doesn't always go the way that we think it's going to go. And it's really good to see evidence being presented, circumstantial evidence, which majority of the time it is circumstantial evidence, but see how a good defense, or maybe miscommunication to the jurors, or whatever it may be, it can go in a completely different direction. So never go in feeling like, oh, this is a done deal. It never is.
Yeah, that is so freaking true and so scary, honestly. But okay, so couple questions before we go. When do you like? What are you? How quickly are you thinking? Not exact date, but that you want to do the next part, and also, like, how are we even going to prepare, Melissa? Because I'm so like, I know it's going to be intense. I'm honestly, it's already happened in the past, long time ago, and I'm like dreading it for him and bracing for it.
Yeah. So not tomorrow, but Tuesday or Wednesday, we could do it. And I'm excited because I don't like divide, especially when it's like either opening statements. If we just did half, I like to keep it kind of as close together as we can. Okay, Justin. So same thing with the witnesses. I like to try to keep it because you don't want too much time to pass.
Yes. Okay.
But
I'm sleeping soon. Yay.
Yeah, definitely. Because I'm excited.
Me too. I cannot wait to see it. Okay, well then, and tomorrow you have your Members Monday.
Yeah,
What's your
tomorrow's
topic?
Members Monday.
What's the topic?
Wait. I've been trying to keep Wade
Wade,
just for
okay.
Mondays. Yeah.
Yay, okay.
It just works. But I'm excited to do this. I just need to emotionally prepare myself because I know defense is going to be that much harder.
I know. It really, really is. Okay. Well, and I know you do Patreon. Okay, so wait on Mondays, so it's easier to do like Patreon, especially if you're listening to some of those calls.
Yeah.
And then that leads to you guys, Melissa and I are working through some things that we're going to do on Patreon with Casey's case, but we'll let you know when we have it figured out. But I'm excited for that too.
Me too.
Okay. All right. I will talk to you soon.
on.
Thank you for being here. Thank you, chat, for being here. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great night.
Good night.
Bye.